About to be saddled up as we're about to go to the back of the grandstand there for the Theatre of the Horse. And let's start with Alligator Blood for the Doncaster Mile. We know he's a remarkable horse. It's only his third start in New South Wales. Only Superimposed, Sunline and More Joyous in the last 50 years have carried this weight or more to win.
Yeah, it's hard to do, isn't it? Especially on a heavy track. I would have preferred him on top of the track. Of course, all his good wins have been on top of the track. He's third up. He's nice and fit, of course. He's drawn a little bit of a tricky barrier, so it's Tim Clark, does he go forward or try and give him a nice soft run in the race? A little bit disappointing for mine in the All-Star Mile last start, but before that was an excellent win in the Futurity.
Well, the winner of the All-Star Mile was Mr. Brightside. He won this race last year. Lizzie's with him.
Well, we saw him down in the stalls and he's here in the mountain yard, but he's back to defend his crown. And since he won that last year's Doncaster, he's been able to win an All-Star Mile. I actually think he looks better this time around than he did last preparation. He's filled out into his really angular frame. He's got a great coat on him. He looks really settled and relaxed. And overall, he's in terrific form, which is exactly what you want to be to win this Doncaster today. I think he looks great, hard to beat.
Number 3 is a scratching. Number 4 is My Oberon. Well, Annabelle Neesham's Rain Dance has come to fruition here with My Oberon. That's the only chance that this guy had in the race for mine, is to have significantly rain-affected ground. He gains that. He was poor in the All-Star Mile. He needs to lift. Whereas this girl doesn't need to lift. Fangirl.
Well, she's got the Animo form and that looks good enough to certainly win this Doncaster, but she doesn't get the ground that she prefers. The wet track really does play against her, unfortunately, but she's absolutely flying this preparation. I said at the start of this prep she'd come back really well, and that had certainly been confirmed the way that she's been racing. Unfortunately, bad barrier, not the track that she wants, or the ground that she wants, I should say, but still she looks in great order.
What do we make of Global Glamour? She's a Group 1 winner in the United States. She's won 9 stakes races. This is the first time we've seen her.
Yeah, it's always hard to assess them, isn't it, when we haven't seen them before. But she's drawn a good barrier. She's down in the weights. Brenton Abdallah and Chris Waller team up here. She's never seen a heavy track that we know of. But yeah, I'm not sure about her breeding in it, but no doubt she'll make her presence felt.
Richard Converge was one of the favourites last year. He seemed to have lost his way. Good run last start. Does the track suit him or not?
Yeah, terrific run in the George Ryder, Bruce, and I had him right on the top of my calculations. Then he's had, by all reports, a few setbacks during the week. He's been vetted on a number of occasions. He takes his place today. He's fit. So that's the first big tick. Heavy track's going to be a query, though. Then we get to an international.
Yeah, fascinating runner, Richo. He is a horse that has got really strong form over in Europe. But the thing is about him is I'm not equating that form. I'm looking at him in his trial. I thought it was an eye-catching performance when he was able to win his most recent trial, beating Cliffsart. He looks to me as though he has a lot of upside. He's by Lope de Vega. Gentleman Roy, he's back in business with the lightweight on his back, and he is a horse who can roll forward. He's got Rachel King aboard, who is fresh off a Group 1 victory in the Tancred last time out. There's not a lot of negatives about him, just maybe he lacks a little bit of scope.
Well, Lions Raw's won a big mile here at Randwick. The Guineas, he likes wet tracks.
Yeah, he does. It's been a long time, though, a couple of years since he won the Randwick Guineas. One thing is to note that he's had one go on a heavy track for one win, so he will like the conditions and down in the weights.
Nugget's a good horse. He was very good in the All-Star Mile. You feel like he's a half a notch below winning a Doncaster Mile?
Yeah, and especially drawn a little bit of a tricky barrier, so where does he get to in the runnings? But you just need to give them an opportunity, a chance, with only such a light weight on their back, 51.5 kilos. He's a big, strong lad. I'm sure he will run well as this guy, Bandersnatch. Can he do it on a wet track over the mile?
Well, he's Johnny on the spot, I reckon. Look at the betting. He's really solid, Bandersnatch. I think he's in with a very, very big chance. Lizzie Golden Mile, we know he's he's unbeaten at the trip.
He is unbeaten at the trip, and he's quite aptly named as well. It'll be very fitting for Zach Lloyd to be able to get his first Group 1 victory aboard a horse trained by his master, James Cummings. He was disappointing last time out in the George Ryder. He was okay in the Canterbury Stakes over an unsuitable trip, but now we're seeing him at his peak with a lightweight on his back. It wouldn't surprise me to see him figure in the finish.
Mustang Valley's been a really big shortener, Katie, because of the track.
Yeah, exactly. The 8 goes for the 4 wins and 4 placings, 51 kilos. He's drawn barrier 3. Big opportunity for Robbie Dolan here. Of course, picked up the ride. Andrew Forsman always has his horses turned out in beautiful order.
So she's one 4-year-old mare. Here's another one, Hope in Your Heart. We know that she's such a good mare. Can she come from that barrier and win?
Well, it's going to be tough, but she's only got 50.5 kilos on her back. Kerry Parker, great trainer. She's third up. She's been going so well. By Dundee, who's having a great day out already. Yes, another big chance.
Lizzie, we've been told that Kerry McAvoy doesn't have to ride any weight over with Zagotchi. He's done the hard yards.
He has done the hard yards. Quite incredible for a man who's so mature to be able to ride at 50.5 kilos. Of course, we spoke about this, Bruce, earlier. Chris Waller has not run a 3-year-old filly in the Doncaster yet. He's been so effective with all his Doncaster runners. Protagonist Richo did a great job last time out winning the Sky High.
And I quite like the 2,000 metres back to the mile. We've seen it used in the past by Chris Waller to great effect. Now, by all reports, William Haggis was saying that needs to be on top of the ground. I think Protagonist is in the race. Cepheus caused a bit of an upset last start over 1,500 metres in the Ajax. So then Dean Yendall jumps on board here with only 50 kilos. Never seen a heavy track. That's got to be a query whether he's good enough. And then we get to a 3-year-old son of Russian Revolution who won the Randwick Guineas, and that was a super win, and the run in the rider was superb as well, and plummets down to 49 kilos. I think he's the best roughie in the race, Communist.
And 2 other 3-year-olds with the same weight, and they've got all the profile that Waller loves with these 3-year-olds. We start with Lindemann.
Yeah, he's a big, tough horse, isn't he? Of course, he won the Rosehill Guineas. He bounced off the canvas there and showed such great fight. He's drawn a tricky barrier, but down in the weight, it's 49 kilos. Austin Penko, who gets a run, he's drawn barrier 1, and the man of the moment, Michael D, is having such a wonderful season.
He sure is, and he was the emergency that gets the run here today. So what a lineup it is. Happy Clapper won the race 5 years ago, and in doing so, look at him, a beautiful horse for Pat Webster. We loved him, didn't we? He'd won the Epsom and the Villiers and the Doncaster, uniquely the big 3 at now the Ingham, of course, the Villiers at Randwick. Give us the marker, Ben, from the tab for the Doncaster Mile.
Mate, he was fantastic in the All-Star Mile. How is he today?
No, he certainly has, and we really do feel we couldn't have him in any better order. He's travelled up super and he's held his condition out of the All-Star Mile, so if we get the right run in transit and we've got the correct jockey on board to hopefully steer him in that way, you never know.
Okay, started at a soft 5, we're now in the heavy range. Does that help him or hinder?
I'll let you know in about 10 minutes' time.
What's your gut
I'm not
feel?
too sure. He handles all surfaces. I just wonder if we're going to be in the right part of the track. I know for our other horse, Gentleman Roy, who I thought was way over the odds if we were going to be competing on a good track. We wanted to see good track for him, and the connections were a bit devastated to see heavy. But with Brightside, he's quite good on all surfaces, so hopefully just end up in the right part of the track.
It's a bit of an omen, isn't it, when you and I are chatting and we are the champions in the background and you've got the defending champion?
Yeah, I know. Sydney do it well, I tell you. I got goosebumps going everywhere, so just very keen to see how this next 10 minutes plays out.
Mate, good luck. Good luck. Let's find out what Lizzie thinks. Lizzie, who's the pick of the yard?
Oh, Richo, what a segue. I'm with Mr. Brightside on top. He is the defending champion. I think he looks better than he did last year. I reckon he's in better form than he was last year, so he goes on top from Duke de Sessa, who I've been really impressed with since he's arrived here in Australia, from that trial and from the way that he presented, and Hope in Your Heart rounds it off.
Thanks for that, Lizzie. What a race. Let's get the hot horse from the tab, Ben.
Oh, I don't know. There are so many different ways to interpret the data. Best backed runner in the race is Mr. Brightside, but I'll make Zugotcha the second best backed runner in the race. The hot horse, having firmed, the other one's drifted. And a special mention to Duke de Sessa, which is now on the 3rd line of betting here in the Doncaster.
Right in, coming right in. Emma, I might start with you. What do you think?
Oh, Bruce. I think I'm with Richo and Duke de Sessa, partially because of the push from the stable during the week. Having spoken to Kieran Ma, they were very bullish about his chances, and he's won on that heavy ground. And Richo, that is definitely the key here, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's a huge plus. I've got him on top, and he was around a 20-1 chance, Duke de Sessa. I think Communist will run really, really well, and I just love the little rapport with JD and Emma, the Friedmans and the Hazes and the Cummings, the next generation all getting around each other. It's fantastic, Bruce. What a race this is.
Lizzie? What are you thinking, Lizzie?
Bruce, I think that I'm happy to stick with Mr. Brightside going into this race. I think he looks absolutely magnificent. I also was with Duke DeCessa in the week as well. I think he looks in great order, and hope in your heart, don't be surprised from that outside gate, she can still run well.
Caitlin?
I think Zugotcha, but wow, it would be an amazing achievement for one of the 4 jockeys in this race, Dylan Gibbons, Andrew Gibbons, Taylor Marshall or Zach Lloyd, if they were to take it out and have their first Group 1 in a Doncaster.
So the prize money's gone up to $4 million. It's gone from 3 to 4. This is the great mile in this country. There's none bigger or better than the Doncaster Mile. Here we go.
Mile. Last year's winner is the favourite, and we're ready to go. Set now. Gates are back, and they're off and racing, and Bandersnatch and Gentleman Roy have jumped well. Gentleman Roy is going to take the lead. Alligator Blood sent forward. Bandersnatch, Mr. Brightside handy on the rails, followed by Converge. Now deep out, Lindemann trying to improve and does so. Zugotcha's going with him. They're followed further back than to Cepheus from Golden Mile. Osipenko's buried down on the inside as they go up into the first turn. Now in the second half of the field, we've got Mustang Valley down on the rails. Deeper out, Protagonist from Duke DeCessa, My Oberon from Fangirl, Nuggets back near third last, followed by Lion's Roar and Hope in Your Heart is the last one. Lindemann leads up the Doncaster field, and the lone filly Zugotcha got to second. Then came Gentleman Roy from Alligator Blood, Cepheus off the track going forward. On the outside of Bandersnatch, then came Mr. Brightside. Down on the inside from Golden Mile, Communist out deep going global, the American mare between them. Further back to Osipenko, then came Converge from Duke DeCessa, starting a run now at the 600 metres. Further back to Nugget from My Oberon, Fangirl all cluttered up, Mustang Valley the rails, deeper out Lion's Roar and Hope in Your Heart. Lindemann spins the corner in front of the Donny. It's Lindemann just in front from the filly Zugotcha, Gentleman Roy, Mr. Brightside cruising up on the inside. Coming down the outside is Nugget with a great run. Zugotcha in front from Nugget the outside, and Mr. Brightside is really starting to lengthen now. Mr. Brightside moved up to join Nugget. Then came Osipenko, Mustang Valley, and My Oberon bursting through. Mr. Brightside in front from My Oberon. Mr. Brightside lifting and goes back to back. Mr. Brightside held on from My Oberon to win the Doncaster again. Nuggets finished in third. Then Osipenko, Mustang Valley, Hope in Your Heart. Further back to Communist, Zugotcha. Fangirl with some headway late from Gentleman Roy, Going Global, Protagonist, Lindemann, Bandersnatch, Alligator Blood, Lion's Roar, Golden Mile, Cepheus and Converge.
Well, it took the Hayes family a long, long time to break the duck in this race, but they've done it in consecutive years, and we reckon that Zach Purton's got a third Doncaster Mile to his name. My Oberon looked the winner here, Katie, for such a long part of the last 100 metres, and it took forever, but it does look like Mr. Brightside's become the 10th horse. He has become the 10th horse to defend the championship.
He's just so tough, isn't he? And he just had to give his all the last 50 when My Oberon came to him. He just was never, ever going to lay down. What a horse that he's been for all his connections. A great ride from Zach Purton, had the confidence in him, and wowee, it's going to be a party tonight.
So he gets the All-Star Mile and 2 Doncasters, Richo, as we go down to you. What a win.
What about these two little legends here? What a feeling. Only the 10th horse to win 2 of these great races. Describe the last 100 metres to me.
It's last year for Ben and I and the team at Lindsay Park, what this horse did to win it and then to go back-to-back is just, it puts him in rare air. He's a very special horse. We've known it all along, but he's now a very special horse in his own right doing something like that. So I couldn't be happier, Richo.
It's not too much of an extension to say he's changed both of your lives, this guy.
He sure has. He's the most special horse. We'll never forget him. But he's got so much to go, which is exciting. He's only turning 6 and... we actually weren't sure we won. So we're holding our breath, but what a ride by Zach. 10 out of 10. Big congratulations to everyone at the farm. It's a team effort to get it done, and just so excited.
What were you thinking, though? You and I were chatting pre-race. What were you thinking with the rain continue to fall?
I don't know what I was thinking, Richard. Had a run on the beach. I never do that race morning. It was beautiful weather, and then it started raining. I thought I was awfully confused, and we just knew we had the right horse. And also, I said it last time, the All-Star Mile, Craig Williams has so much to do with him, and he rang us during the week and wished us all the best. And I'm sure he'll be coming back fighting fit. But Zach Purton just put in a 10 out of 10. The feelings with this horse have just ridden him an absolute treat, and just so lucky.
Oh, the emotions for the whole team. Oh, you're in for some night tonight singing a few versions of Mr. Brightside, aren't we?
It's definitely our favourite song.
I could actually do it backwards.
Yeah, I bet you can, Em.
And Damien will be singing the same tune. Richo, one of the many owners in Mr. Brightside. Congratulations, back-to-back Donnies in your matching ties.
Thank you very much, Emma. It's very hard to believe. He's just an absolute superstar. What he's done for the ownership group, Ben and JD, the horse is full of heart, you know.
There you go, where's the
we love that
cronies?
song. Yeah, they're all gone. Yeah, nah, look, he's just an absolute superstar. He got challenged at the 50 and he just dug in. He just absolutely doesn't know how. His will to win is just absolutely amazing, Emma, and we're very lucky to own a horse of his calibre.
Mate, congratulations. Go and celebrate
Thanks,
with your
Em.
fellow owners.
Thanks.
Good on you, buddy.
So great stuff, isn't it? So I think we're about to go back to M with Zach Purton in just a moment. So it was a magnificent ride. So Zach's got the Midas touch. We know that all around the world, but to win a third Doncaster, Bossy's got the record with 7, and then you go to a couple with 4 and George Moore with 3. But he got the beautiful run here at this stage, Katie, didn't he? I mean, he was poised to strike Zagotcha. My Oberon, though, was about to come off his back and challenge.
Yeah, it was a great finish, wasn't it? It looked like Nugget was going to win the whole entire way up the straight for Andrew Gibbons, so a thrill for him.
I tell you who's going to be wrapped, Emma. I think you can hear me as David Hayes, because I think he had a lot to do with Zach getting the ride. How good's this, eh?
Oh, Zach, you just come back here and get another one. Tell me about that final 50. He's tough. He just digs in. What a horse.
I thought I had it, the one on the outside I was in a race with, and I was fighting him off, and then all of a sudden the one come on the inside, and I was praying that winner post was coming, because he was getting to me, but my horse was very brave, and he didn't really love the ground, but his class got him through it.
He's an amazing horse. Tell us again how the ride came about through David Hayes, the father of these magnificent young men who are training out of their skin at the moment.
They might even be better than he is.
Don't tell him that.
No, he's very proud of the way they're going, and obviously they had a great master. He taught them everything that they know, which is probably the most satisfying part of it for him. But obviously I have a great connection with him in Hong Kong, and personally as well, we get along really well. I had the offer for the All-Star Mile, but we had the Derby in Hong Kong the next day, so I didn't go. I was very happy for Luke Curry to win on him that day, but today was my day, and I'm glad I delivered for them again.
Let's get your beautiful wife in here, Nicole, who's flown down from Hong Kong as well. Great to see you. You know what racing's all about. You've been in it your entire life. How proud of... Yeah, don't leave us.
Giving her her moment.
How proud of him are you?
I'm very proud, always. I can't say any more than that. I'm his biggest cheerleader, always. Oh, I can't believe you just won a Doncaster. Oh, another one.
Again, congratulations to you both. I tell you what, these owners, they know how to party, so watch out.
Oh, I've got a little bit of time before I get on the plane, so I'll see you much.
They'll make the most of it, mate. Believe me.
Thank you.
Brilliant, isn't the Cassidys and the Purtons together, and Zach, who had won the Randwick Guineas and the Canterbury Stakes, he's having such a ride here in so many ways. He looked home, Nugget, and then Mo Oberon looked home, but nobody was telling Mr. Brightside that, were they? That was just fantastic, it really was, to be able to create that history. And what a mile. He's now won 9 races over this trip, including 2 Doncasters and an All-Star Mile. Incredible. Yeah, it is. It's great, Katie, isn't it? Absolute star. So a Doncaster, like the TJ, that will be in the annals of history. And that group, we saw them last year in absolute full voice. And Richo, we just know that they'll be doing all of that again. In fact, if they wanted a breather tonight, Richo, they could just push the reset button from last year, I reckon.
Half their luck, Bruce. Oh, to own a horse like him, a relatively cheap horse who has changed all of their lives. He deserved it today. The All-Star Mile into the...
A1, what a day we've seen. Lizzie, you were down there when he was being saddled up, Mr. Brightside. He was your pick of the yard. You were with him all the way. this is a career-defining effort for him, because he goes from one level to the next, doesn't he, today?
Absolutely, and the way that he travelled into the race just at that perfect time, I was thinking to myself, Zach, you're riding him too confidently, but geez, he knew exactly what time to press the button, and I think that was a telling tale in the end. She just had so much horse underneath him. My Oberon really tested him on the line. It was a lot closer than I realised, and Mustang Valley and Nugget also found the line quite nicely, but Mr. Brightside has certainly etched his name in the history books now. He's one of 10 horses to have gone and won back-to-back Doncasters.
And we're talking about a race that has been run 158 times. So, it stood the test of time. And it's the true test of a miler in this country, isn't it?
It really is. And I was worried a little bit about him not being able to run that sort of tough mile on these testing conditions. But he just proved that he was way above what we expected of him. I think from last year as well, he was so over the odds last year. He's coming in career best form in comparison to last time around. And the way that he presented in the yard and down in the stalls area, I think the boys had him absolutely spot on. Remember, Bruce, the boys have done something that CS and David have never done, and that's won a Doncaster.
And won it twice, eh?
Won it twice.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? So wonderful stuff. So, Lizzie, we've had such a day today, with more to come with the Derby and the PJ Bell. But next week, great meeting, but it's the Queen Elizabeth.